When you don't have time for all those facts, when you don't have an hour free and need to be informed, take a listen to today's Morning Moment, coming up right now.
It's 11:45 Eastern. It's time for A Radio's Morning Moment.
You're listening to A Radio.
Thank you for joining us. You're listening to A Radio, and this is the Morning Moment. Follow us on Spreaker.com and click on the like button. You can find us on most social media platforms such as iTunes, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Go to our website, aradio.wordpress.com, for details, where you'll find more content and details on our podcasts and more. I just wanted to do this piece this morning. I thought it was so relevant to the piece I've just done on socialism. It's from retired General Jack Keane. He was being interviewed this morning on Fox and Friends by Brian Kilmeade. Their topic was, in fact, that there was no topic dealing with foreign policy in last night's debate. The debate moderators had removed it. Why? Because undoubtedly it would have exposed the countless miscalculations that Biden has made over the years, not including the ones made by the Obama-Biden administration. I want you to listen to this piece and see if you can figure out, when the General speaks, why this was a very important topic and why it has been deliberately left out, while COVID and climate change were discussed yet again, even though they'd already been debated infinitum. Ahead of time, I wish to apologise for the recording quality due to the fact that, again, Fox News refused to put their clips up. Again, you would think, wouldn't you, that they would like the free publicity? I guess not. Here's that piece.
I saw congressional candidate Cori Bush sent out this tweet, floating the radical idea just how dramatically would defunding the Defense Department alter America's standing on the world stage. How about that if that tweet was adhered to? Let's ask retired four-star general, senior strategic analyst here at Fox News, General Jack Keane. General, that must really hit the foundation of your core.
Well, yes. I mean, we have serious problems. The world we're dealing with today is more dangerous and more complicated than any time the United States has faced global security challenges since the end of World War II, dealing with the Soviet Union. And given that, what has happened to us, we have dug ourselves, Brian, a deep hole when it came to military capabilities. Why is that? The priorities of the 9/11 war for 20 years, the serious Obama administration budget cuts, and the lethargy, I believe, that crept into the Pentagon and the Pentagon and the national security community. That lethargy in being the world's only superpower, and not recognizing that Russia was reemerging and that China was surging. You put all that together, and we have this hole I'm describing. Now, the Trump administration has put us on a path to recovery, but we're just in the early stages of that recovery because the hole is so deep. And we've got to continue this funding. If we stop that recovery, if there's an administration that makes that decision, not only are we going to stop it, but we're going to cut it, then what that will do, it will encourage our adversaries, it put national security of the American people at risk, and our adversaries will fundamentally exploit it.
General, I was going to go over the foreign policy conversation from last night, but I have a blank page. We did not go over the difference between 40 years of Vice President Biden and his belief he was chairman of foreign relations, and we didn't go over the last 4 years of Donald Trump. The American people were not served by leaving out that topic.
Yeah, that is very, very frustrating. It's the thing that frustrated me the most about the debates themselves. We've always set aside, Brian, a debate to deal with foreign policy and national security. Why is that? Because the United States is a global leader, and we're involved in the world out there, and these are critical decisions that are being made, and people have significantly different viewpoints as how to handle these problems. And to think that we don't even have a substantive question in a debate dealing with this issue, I think it's one, it's irresponsible, and two, it is very insulting to the American people. I also believe, having looked at this now, that we should pay some attention, maybe more attention, to who's on these debate commissions.
Yes.
Prior to these debates taking place, so we make certain that the American people's interests are going to be served well.
Yeah, the moderators had all the power. And I will say this. I go out of my way and to keep you out of politics, because you're about the military and national security. I get it. But there's one thing that's going to happen. If Joe Biden's elected, we're trying to get back into the Iranian deal. If Donald Trump is elected, the Iranians are going to feel as though they have to come to a deal somehow because they've been really destroyed by the sanctions. That will change one way or another. The Middle East has been changed over the last 3.5 years. So if we try to get back into the Iranian deal, what do you think that would mean for Israel and those other Arab peace, those other two nations that made peace with Israel?
Yeah, I mean, it would be quite staggering. Listen, I'm not an apologist for the Trump administration. I mean, they have done a great job in defining who our adversaries are and then putting together plans to confront them. So they moved from appeasement of our adversaries, which is what I thought we were largely doing in the previous administration, to confronting them. And that confrontation has been uneven. There's things they could do better, to be sure, and that should be the subject for the discussion in the debate. But the reality is that Iran has been on the march for years as a result of our appeasement, as a result of the phony nuclear deal and the $130 billion they got in cash flow as a result of sanction relief. We cannot permit that to happen. I believe the peace deal that has been struck in the Middle East is a geopolitical paradigm shift that's going to change the Middle East for generations to come. And why is that? Because a coalition is forming with the United States as part of it, Israel as part of it, and the Arabs to do what? To stand up against Iran. We cannot turn that around. If we turn that around, that would be a huge mistake. And what will the Iranians do? Further destabilize the Middle East, because that's what they're about. They want to take control of it. And they've moved in that direction. Now they have been confronted. And that confrontation is building a coalition of countries. Yes. I call it an Arab NATO, is what we're about doing. It'll take a number of years to put it all together, but that political and military alliance that is forming is a very good thing for the security of the American people and the Middle East. And we're not hostage to their oil. We have our own. And the other thing is, 2 more countries evidently are going to make an announcement soon. They got to be part of it. And the other thing is, we can safely say this is in General Mattis's book. Joe Biden walked up to him. General Mattis said, don't pull out of Iraq. This thing could break. And he pulled out anyway, and it broke. ISIS is not the JV team. We know that for sure. And when Syria used natural gas, chemical killer gas on their people, we drew a red line, and we didn't enforce that red line, and we're still paying the price. Those are facts, and that's what we could be going back to. General Jack Keane, thanks so much.
You can find more at aradio.wordpress.com, where you can find links to us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Gab, Parler, Spotify, and email. We are continuing to reach out to you, so please pass these links on to your friends. Please click on the follow button on Spreaker.com. You can listen to all our morning moments at Spreaker.com/A-Radio. That's EHRADIO, a radio. And please click on the like button. Join us Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 11:45 Eastern, for our morning moment or tweak. And tell your friends, pass the word. We only tell the truth, not what the Canadian mainstream media want you to know. This time, More than any in history, we all need to trust but verify.